Behind me is the all-new 2026 Airstream Flying Cloud 27 front bed twin, and today we're going to see what makes this trailer so great in terms of storage space. One of the major benefits of a twin bed is that you're going to get more outside storage. So on this particular model, you're going to have 3 outside storage compartments. Half of it is underneath the bed, so half of it's outside storage, half of the storage is accessible from the inside. You're going to see as we go to the front of the trailer, we're going to have storage compartment here, which is great for our hitch equipment, our power cord. There's going to be a light switch on that side. It's a manual light switch, just keep that in mind. It's not automatic. Good space here. And then finally, we're going to have a third storage compartment, which is great for other utilities. Water hoses, our surge protector. You can put your power cord in here. Plenty of other accessories that you might need on this side of the trailer. So this is what I'm going to call your 4th awning. So when you're going to be camping here, this can rise on up. We can lock this into place and allows your front window to open on up. It's going to have 3 settings. You have your low, medium, and kind of high all the way up. While this is open, we're going to have 2 screws here for this window shade here. Or window guard, excuse me. Quarter turn, this is going to turn out. This is good for if any twigs, any dirt, any leaves kind of build up behind this. This is just designed to protect the window. This is not sealing anything behind. Below we have our stainless steel rock guard. We still have the protection on here. We want to keep this nice and shiny before our lucky customer comes and picks this on up. You'll see it's hinged from this side. It's hinged really only for cleaning behind or replacing. So this 27 front bed twin is equipped with the second AC. So we're going to have 2 AC units. The back AC unit is 15,000 BTUs, while the front AC unit, which is your secondary one, is 13.5. You can run this, so this is a 50 amp trailer. You can run this on a 30 amp. Just make sure you're running one AC or the other AC, not them both together. The Flying Cloud here has what's called the awning package. So every Airstream is going to have your main patio awning that you're going to see and you know, get the table and chairs on your awning side. But the Flying Cloud has the additional awning package. And you might ask yourselves, does this come out any further? No, it does not. So what would you say the point of this? Number one, I think it looks really sharp. When this kind of pulls on out, I think it dresses up the side of your trailer. It also allows you to open up your 3 windows here all the way on up, so we can get that nice airflow while shading the side of your trailer. And finally, this is going to reduce a lot of the heat. So on a 95, 100 degree day, when you're standing out in the sun beating down on you here, if we stand right here, it's going to cut about 10 to 15, 20 degrees in some cases. The other thing to note is on the roof of the Airstream, it's painted white for heat reflection. So that also designates where you can actually stand, and you could walk on it if you ever needed to get up there. While we see up here, we see one of our solar panels. So this trailer is also equipped with the 300 watt solar package. We're going to have one of our panels on here, and the other 2 are going to be on the other side of the trailer. There is room for additional solar should you want to. However, I would personally just try it before you go in and do some crazy kind of investment. Walking through the utilities on the trailer, 2026, they started doing the quick connect for our outside shower. So this is going to come with a quick connect with a hot and cold sprayer. We can hose down the dog, we can hose down our feet. A lot more effective than some of the older models. Next to our shower here, we're going to find is where we can fill our fresh tank. So if we're going to be doing any dry camping at state campgrounds where we don't have water hookup at our site, fill up our 39-gallon fresh tank here. One cool thing about that is that where our fresh tank drain is located is right in between our axles here. So this drain is where we can either open it on up or we can close it here with that quarter turn here. The thing I love about it being in the center here is that it creates kind of a nice ballast while you're going down the road. So you don't have to worry about whether your tanks are full or empty. I would argue the weight centered on your axles actually might even help stabilize the trailer even more than it already is. Here we're going to find our city water connection. So if we're at a full hookup site with a water spigot right next door, we can hook right up to here. This already has a pressure regulator, so you actually don't want to regulate this because that runs into the issue with your water heater and over regulating the water. Underneath here, you're gonna see caution, black tank flush. This is where there is no regulator. So we can hook up water to here, and while we go ahead and we empty our black tank here, put water through here. It's gonna run through our black tank and flush it on out, help push all that lovely stuff out when we go to empty our tank. After we empty our black tank, then from that point we can pull our gray tank to help clean out your sewer hose. Speaking of your sewer hose, the carrier is located underneath the trailer, separate from any of your other storage. This will fit a 15-foot Rhino sewer hose very easily. You could kind of fit the 210s, but it gets kind of tight. You also, we can put another sewer hose carrier here, maybe even another one there, depending on the length of sewer hose that you want. Airstream uses what's called the smart plug. They've been using this technology here for the last 3 or 4 years. Much easier to kind of work with a 50 amp cord. You'll still see that 50 amp cord's kind of thick. There's a lot of power and juice coming through here. But all we're gonna have to do is just unclip this, plug it directly in. Blue light shows that power's coming from the source. So if you ever see this blue light not on, 9 times out of 10, it's probably because the breaker at the campground's not flipped. Next to this is also a smart plug connection here. We're gonna have an Ethernet plug-in. On the inside, we'll see where we can plug in that Ethernet. This is what a lot of people are using for Starlink. Next to the Ethernet plug-in satellite, if you're at a campground like a KOA or whatever, you can plug in a cable, running that to your TVs if you're still using that. And then final thing on this side is our furnace exhaust. So on the inside of the trailer, you're gonna see what looks like maybe a compartment to pull for storage. It's actually the intake for your furnace. So I'll point that on out. You don't wanna block that when your furnace is going here. When you select the awning package on the Flying Cloud, you also get the back awning. Back awning secures here. I always kind of tuck these behind the screw. And that's going to showcase another 2026 upgrade, being the new backup camera or the rear view camera while you're driving. So positioned a lot lower, positioned a little bit, kind of sleeker. You don't see it, doesn't stick out like the old ones that hung up above the awning. So all we're going to do for our awning, pull this on out, rotate, and then twist this back on up. On the back of your trailer, you're gonna have bumper storage. Probably mentioned this before, but this is not lockable and it's not weather tight. So just kind of keep that in mind with what you're putting back here. But this is a great thing for blocks of wood, maybe some wheel chocks. Some people put an extra sewer hose back here to deter anybody potentially. I put things like s'more sticks. If you have collapsible like fishing rods that aren't super valuable, that's another good spot for that. So on your awning side of the trailer, this is going to showcase one of the nice 2026 upgrades, and that is the new bathroom window. There is obviously a shade, so you can pull that on down if you are using it, but really nice to kind of get some extra airflow. We're going to highlight that when we get on inside. However, our awning on the Flying Cloud is a manual awning, Zip-D awning. They've been putting this awning on for generations, years and years and years. One of the benefits of a manual awning is there's potentially less to go wrong. It's not terribly difficult, and I'm going to show you how to put it back. On each side, you're going to see 4 holes, or you're going to see 3 holes. The fourth hole is what the awning's currently in. All we're going to do, pull on out. We're going to bring this all the way on down to the lowest setting. We're going to go over to the other side and do the same thing. And I am just kind of guiding it back in. On the top of the awning, there is another pull down here, which is going to release the tension. It's going to allow us to pull this on up. And we are just going to set it down into its spot on the side over here. When I do one of those, I can actually kind of just leave it as it is. However, when I do the final one, that's where we're going to see that tension kind of start to come back. So you're going to want to hold on to that while also putting it back into its place. Now you could do this with 2 people, makes it even easier. However, it's once you kind of get it, very straightforward. We're just going to let it roll on the way back. Before I let go of it, you're going to see the awning LED strip. Notice I said LED, it's not gonna heat up or anything like that. This is also dimmable, so you can go ahead and dim that on down. It might not look super bright at the moment, but at night, when it's dark out, it can be kind of bright, so we can dim that on down. But as I go and I release this, just go until you can't reach, and then lock it, it kind of goes back into place. Finally, there's gonna be 2 wheels that you can use to lock this into place, lock the other one into place, and clip that to secure your awning for driving. And this wouldn't be an Airstream video if we didn't talk about the Airstream door. So 8 labor hours go into the construction of this door. Now there's some miscommunication, you know, some people say 3, some people say 8. 8 labor hours. So in the case of, you know, a couple people working through this. But it sounds like a bank vault. It sounds like a plain fuselage door when you go and shut that. Nice and secure. You're gonna see you're gonna have a handle lock and a deadbolt. Make sure that these are both in the lock position when you're traveling. To detach the screen door, we're just gonna lift up on here. Locks into place. We can slide that shut for any bugs. One of my favorite things is they put the pet screen guard. So that's really nice, protects the screen. Inside the trailer, we're gonna have our light controls. Now, if you ever start like turning lights and you're like, what does this control? It's probably the outside or the awning light. This one up top is the awning LED strip. So we're gonna make sure that this is in the off position. Dimmer switch, obviously we can move that up and down. Inside, this is our overhead LEDs in the back of the trailer, dimmable from inside. And again, this switch is going to be this light switch out here. Located at the bottom is our battery disconnect. This battery disconnect is what kind of kills all the power with the exception of 2 things, your solar controller and your LP sensor, which I'll showcase. So if you are wanting to keep your refrigerator on while you're driving, we want to make sure that this is in the on position and we can turn everything on off. One of my favorite things about a 27 front bed is that since your beds are in the front, that gives the back over here our panoramic window where we can back up to a really nice spot, you know, so no disrespect to our showroom where we have some nice trailers back here, but think about being in the Grand Tetons, think about being on Lake Michigan and having a nice view. We're gonna have window that can open, window that can open, window that can open. We have our screen door. We're gonna have our max air fan that we can turn on and ventilate a lot of air. So yes, this does have 2 air conditioning units, but hopefully we're not in a spot where we need to use our AC all the time. Obviously, if you're down in the Southwest or down south in Texas, whatever, we can run that. But on nice days, open up the windows, lets in a lot of nice airflow. This can convert to another sleeping area. This can also convert to a sleeping area by pulling this on out. You can use the cushions here to kind of build those spots. Now this location right here is what I was talking about with the furnace. This is the intake, so don't be trying to pull on this. You also don't want to block this if you're doing any late season camping. When your furnace is on, make sure that airflow can kind of come through. You are going to have plenty of storage located here. You're going to have a nice drawer located here. One of my favorite things is it has a designated spot for a trash can. 2 overhead compartments here with soft close feature. So yes, it might be the entry level Flying Cloud or dual axle, but it does have the soft close. Inside the trailer, Ethernet plug-in. So if we do have our Starlink router, we can plug that in from our data cable from our antenna on the outside. We can plug it in on this side. Button here with the green light, that is our TV antenna, so our basic broadcast channels. If that's in the off position, your antenna is off. If it's on, you can pick up local stations. JL audio system, we can Bluetooth. Subwoofer is actually located behind the bench here, and you can designate your zone. So zone 1, zone 2 in the bedroom. Another change for model year 2026 is the new Airstream AC vents. So after 5 or 10 years, they've moved to a new design, which is 75 to 80% better airflow when you're running your air conditioning. You can still turn these closed. You can kind of change the direction ever so slightly, but you're going to have them located throughout the trailer. Now, one thing to note too is that if you run one AC, it's still going to go through the whole trailer. It's just the second AC is going to kind of generate that and cool it down even quicker. Our back AC unit, our bigger unit, is controlled from this control panel here. This also is where you can control your furnace. So your furnace is controlled back in this zone. There's one in the bedroom control panel that we can control our front air conditioning unit as well. Airstream moved a couple years ago to the 12-volt smart TVs. So you're gonna have a smart TV located in the living area, also one located in the bedroom. You can connect this via hotspot, Starlink, and then you can have, obviously you can have your Netflix, YouTube, Prime, whatever you use, already set up and ready to go. Behind that, we're gonna have our 12-volt refrigerator. It's 8 cubic feet, which you can designate the freezer from the fridge. So if you want rock solid ice cream, but you don't want, other things to be not really, really cold, you can designate that. 5 is gonna be the coolest setting. 1 would be the least cool. I'm not gonna say warm because it's still cool. You can run that while you're driving, going down the road. Storage space, we're gonna have double closet with the light. So we can either hang clothing or we can do different stacking. Shelf on the top. Kitchen area. This particular model has the microwave in the pull-out drawer, which gives you the LP oven. Now you might ask yourself, I don't use an oven. I would still think that this might not be a bad idea because it gives you a nice storage space for maybe pots and pans. I even see people that put bread in the oven. You can put that on this top. Cooktop is a propane cooktop, gas, but the nice thing is that this kind of converts and it's more of a flush counter space. Light with a fan, just make sure the tabs on the outside are open. Here's where we're going to find our battery monitor, where we can also check our fresh tank, our gray tank, and black tank. We also see if we're on fresh water, so if we're dry camping, our water pump is where we can turn on our water pump. Power here, this is not an inverter circuit power. So when we talk about our inverter, tap to turn that on. One thing to note is that you're not going to need to use this while you're plugged in. So if you were to look really closely at the orange right here, this says shore, meaning, hey, you're on shore power, you're kind of overkill. You don't need to keep this on. So to turn it off, we just hold it down for 3 to 5 seconds until it flashes, and then we can let go. Now the time to turn that on is when we're not plugged into a 30 amp, we're not plugged into a 50 amp, and we want to run certain designated outlets like our inverter circuit outlet. Those are highlighted with a blue inverter circuit. So you're going to see one by the TV. There'll be one in the bedroom. There's one underneath the dinette, and there's also one in where our Ethernet plug-in is. Above our kitchen, we're going to have more overhead storage compartments with the soft close feature. Airstream is going to have our utensil storage. So one of your differences between a 25-foot Flying Cloud, this fits perfectly like that. However, in a 27, you can rotate that. That gives you more counter space. You're also going to have plenty of drawers and then a flip down here at the bottom. Underneath, we're going to have ample storage. I also love how the Flying Cloud, since 2021, they have the ability to put your feet underneath here so somebody behind you passes. Makes it a little bit easier. Listen to how these shut. Nice and solid here. So when you're going down the road and experiencing all those wonderful Michigan and Midwest potholes, this is going to stay nice and shut. Sink cover. We would recommend to not have this on the sink while you're driving. Again, part of those lovely potholes can bounce around and actually can gash the floor. So we would recommend either putting that inside the closet here, underneath the cushion, or underneath the bed, or just anywhere except there, or on top. In the center of the trailer, underneath our storage, we're going to have our fuse panel. Most of these are 15 amp fuses. It will light up. So if you ever happen to blow a fuse, you're going to see this light on up. Makes it really nice so you're not having to pick it on out and notice which one is blown or not. We have our breakers here. Generally speaking, leave those untouched. If you are running on a 30 amp and happen to run 2 ACs, that's where you can run into some potential issues. On the other side, we're going to have one of our furnace vents. This is the CO2 monitor and gas detector. Green means good, yellow means probably time to change, red means that there's going to be an alarm. So if you happen to hear this chirping, realistically over the years this probably means it needs to be replaced. In the center of the trailer, we're going to have our bathroom and our shower with a curtain that can kind of close that on off. So we're going to have a curtain here, curtain in the bedroom, so we can kind of wall that on off. I love how Airstream has the bathroom separated in your 25s and 27s, 30 foots. So on this side, we're going to have our bathroom. Our black tank's going to be located right underneath the toilet. So that means that water's not going to have to be, plumbed in 20 different directions, right on our axles. You'll see the new window. Really, I think they did a really nice job with still having plenty of storage inside. So we're gonna have, this was kind of our medicine cabinet located here. We have a spot above the window which we can put different items. We still have all the storage underneath. And a spot for toilet paper. So I think they did a really, really nice job with the new bathroom layout. You still have a mirror located right here. I like that it's not too big because walking into here might freak me out getting that in the morning. Located underneath the mirror is the new Fugatti water heater. So this is where we can kind of change our water heater temperature. 120 is really kind of the standard recommended water temperature to be at for on-demand. And again, as simple as turning that off and on. We could go to Fahrenheit Celsius if you'd really want to, expand your horizons a little bit. So on the top of the bathroom, we're going to have another AC vent. So the new 2026 style. And then right here, we're going to have the ability for a bathroom fan. You're also going to have that in the shower. So in the shower, you can push that on up, and then black button, we can ventilate the shower with that. There is a plug, I guess if you wanted to wash your feet, but just kind of be careful with that. You don't want to flood the trailer. New style, a lot nicer, upgraded with a clothesline. Now this is designed, for light towels, maybe some swimsuits, those types of things. So don't be, overloading on what you put on this. So as we've talked about, this is the twin bed configuration. The twin bed, as you already saw, has more outside storage. Also, there is more space in between the bed. So whether you have pets, whether you just want to put socks on, whether you're changing, you can sit down either side, which is really nice. Also, for myself, I'm 6'2", and the beds in a queen bed are 75 inches long, which I still kind of fit on. But if you're over 6'2", or if you sleep completely straight, the twin beds are 80 inches long, so 5 inches longer, and they're 36 inches wide. An RV queen is 60 inches wide by 75. I'm not great at math, but 60 divided by 2 is 30. And so you're also going to get more width of storage or sleeping space as well as length. Another thing that you pick up with the twin beds is underneath, you're going to pick up inside storage that's accessible from the inside. Again, that wall is where the outside storage compartment begins. You're also going to have that on the other side. Storage space, storage space. Another thing on the 27 specifically is that you're going to have two of these closets where you can adjust your shelves, you can hang clothing. Same thing on the other side. Your 25 will just have one located on this side. Another thing is that you do pick up some space at the foot of the bed. You can see here, this is about, I would say about 8 to 10 inches between the foot of the bed and the wall. So if you put hamper storage, you put luggage, you put blankets, you put whatever. I mean, it's nice to kind of have a catch-all space located at the foot of the bed. You do also pick up a drawer with power. You're also going to have USB and USB-C on each side of the beds. This compartment here is the big space that's accessible from the outside. I have seen some people cut holes through here to kind of have a pass-through. I just don't really see the real need for that, just because everything you put in there is really more utilities and your power cord, your hitch equipment, that type of thing. So I really don't see the need for that. You're also going to have more overhead storage. I would really challenge you in this particular model to really fill it up. Now I have seen it, and I've actually spent hours and hours and hours helping to clean people out of trade-ins. So the challenge was accepted by that particular customer, but it is really hard to fill this trailer with all your gear. If this was my trailer, you know which bed I would pick. That would be the one with the TV. So I will let you guys have to figure that out depending on which bed you would select. But this side over here, you're gonna have the TV. Now it does swivel around, so I guess you can be nice to your partner over here. But TV's located on this side. Again, smart TV. You can hook up hotspot, Ethernet to do your Netflix and Hulu and everything else. Above that, we have our light switch with a dimmer for our overhead LED lights. Next to that, this is how we control our secondary AC unit, which is located in the bedroom. So if you are camping in a very hot environment and you only have 30 amp and it's at night, I would definitely tell you to run your front AC unit. That's going to be located here, going to be a lot quicker to cool down this area. Now you can shut the vents off, you can close this on off to kind of make sure that this gets cooler quicker. Thank you for watching this tour on the all-new 2026 Airstream Flying Cloud 27 front bed twin. We'd love it for you guys to like, subscribe, comment for more exclusive content from Woodland Airstream. For more information, visit us at woodlandairstream.com or locate us at any of our 4 exclusive locations across the Midwest.